Hello everyone, this is Javamonk, and welcome to episode 80, I'm pretty sure, of the Survival series. So, last episode we built some pretty nice looking things like a garden, a mini Parthenon, and also worked on a sky village, plus worked with villagers. So today, I'm thinking of doing like an evil build. Now, we're here at Spawn Point because these bright purple shulkers remind me of episode 62, as well as livestream number 3. Now, livestream number 3 its replay is on my channel. It's called the Shakespearean Curse because, well, it really did not go as planned. But what we got was an indestructible ender crystal, which has a beam that would point to the center of the world. So all I have to do is go into the end and move the thing over to here, and its beam would point right to the center of the world right there. And this gave me the idea to build a giant evil tower with a beam coming off of it. So let's actually get that ender crystal beam right now, because chances are that's going to be the most complex part of this whole thing. So let's just fly back to the mansion and head over to the end. I also need to restock on ender pearls because I am very, very low on them. So I'd like to show you this indestructible ender crystal. And to do that, I gotta go to the end because this ender crystal is actually indestructible and has a beam. As I found out during livestream number 3, it also has the capacity to heal the dragon. And there is no way to destroy it. So here we are in the end, and what the heck? There's an ender dragon here? Future Javamonk, what have you done to my world again?
Haha, gotcha. Here, let me take care of this dragon. There you go, Javamonk. Dragon's dead. There you go. Problem solved. Happy now?
Yes, thank you. Now, can you please stop spawning dragons like that?
Sure, no problem.
Okay. By the way, can you help me with explaining the indestructible ender crystals?
I think it would be better if you explained it.
Very well. So here's the thing. These indestructible ender crystals are ridiculously cool. Let me actually try to fly up and actually show you. So, here we go. So, in the end here, I have this ice highway, as well as that thing right there, which actually deals with the Enderman farm. Yikes. Hang on, let me make a backup of this world in case this actually fails, because this was an absolute pain to get. I'm going to warn you right now, ender crystals are extremely sensitive, and I might be totally wrong about this. So it's possible that all of the effort in livestream number 3 was completely wasted. But check this out. Assuming it actually works. Did you see that? Normally ender crystals explode when you have arrows shot at them. But not these two. These two are indestructible. Which means that does mean that we can actually push these around. Since these are, whoa, nice fire effect. So since these things are entities complete with hitboxes, we can actually push these things around. Check this out. Let me actually just pull out a piston real quick. So the first time I saw this actually happening was on this YouTube series I like to watch called The Hermitcraft. And basically this one guy basically made a got an indestructible ender crystal from the end, except it's on a server, so he didn't have the luxury of being able to just stop and restart the world. But check this out. Did you see that? You can move indestructible ender crystals. How cool is this? And no matter how much you move them, they are still, and actually, you can tell it's indestructible because I can whack it as much as I want to. It's not going to hurt me. It's not going to destroy the crystal. If I shoot an arrow at it, it ricochets. At least most of the time it does. It did when I tested it out. So, yeah. Both of these crystals are completely indestructible. So, okay, I'm happy I made the backup of the world because if this was actually incorrect, then that would have been absolutely, positively catastrophic. Okay. Oh, and forgot to mention this. When I logged into this backup of the world, the dragon respawned. So, yeah. I think we're just going to perpetually be having that problem. I really hope not, though. Because that would seriously suck. Finally, a dragon-free end. But also an end that doesn't have anything from episode 62. Yeah, I distinctly remember filling most of the area around the end portal with, like, player heads and stuff. Weird. Okay, let's start pushing these ender crystals. So let's see. Really, all we need are just pistons, redstone, and blocks. That's pretty much it. And at least for now, actually, I think it'd be a good idea if we just have the... I think we can just push the crystals with the hitboxes on. This way I know where to put the pistons. Okay, looks like the crystal sets itself on fire if you push it with a piston. I don't think that's too big of an issue. Okay, here we go. Time to just push it off the island. And into the overworld. Let's hope this actually works. And if it doesn't, there's another crystal right there. So it'd be catastrophic, but not that bad. And there we go. I just sent an indestructible ender crystal. Uh-oh. Hey, Future Javamonk, I'm being attacked here.
I can't help you.
Okay. Then I guess I'll just... Yeah. Okay. So, Future Javamonk. I just sent a indestructible ender crystal through that end portal right there. So, that means it just got sent to spawn point. I hope you actually got to see that part. All of you viewers there. I hope you got to see that because, well, this was actually a really cool process, but indestructible ender crystals are really kind of funky. See, ender crystals are super sensitive. Like, if you pushed it with a piston, it exploded. So, indestructible ender crystals, it's kind of understandable that indestructible ender crystals would be weird because they're not meant to be pushed by pistons. So, here we go. Follow me to spawn point. Now that is a thing of beauty. An ender crystal with a beam going to the center of the world to actually Y level 128. I mean, look at all these. These shulkers are just loving this thing. Okay, this is absolutely terrific. So, let's now move this crystal at least a little bit closer to the center of the world. And then we can build the Tower of Evil. So for a project like this, a giant evil tower, obviously I'm going to need some evil materials. So things like nether bricks stairs, nether brick slabs, nether brick fences, magma blocks, red nether bricks, nether wood blocks, and also lava. Yeah, I'm going to be building with lava, something I have never done. In fact, I've never built anything really in this style before. So this, of course, this is heavily inspired by the Tower of Sauron from Lord of the Rings. So, just heavy inspiration. This is actually the reason why I got the indestructible ender crystal. I just thought it'd be really cool to have this Eye of Sauron. So, this entire build is going to be done in the form of a third-person time-lapse. The camera work brought to you by Future Javamonk. I hope you enjoyed that time lapse. That was 11 hours worth of footage, and no kidding. I mean, this thing is huge. So, the evil tower that I was building is now complete, at least the interior of it. And Future Javamonk, thank you for holding the camera. Now, this interior floor here, I worked too hard on this to go to waste, and right now, there's no entrance here. So, what I want to do is I want to put in a secret entrance. What I have is a fire resistance potion, some ender pearls, and some signs. And the reason we're in this wing is because I want to make a secret ender pearl exclusive lava entrance. See, as you probably saw in the time lapse, there's lava dripping down. In fact, let me actually demonstrate. Let's just pop on some fire resistance. There we go. So, hopefully you can see from Future Javamonk's perspective that there is indeed lava right there. And I can magically just stand under it, and I'm totally fine. So, here we go. I have lava being dumped on me, but no damage is done. So, that's the power of fire resistance. So what I want to do is I want to make some sort of entrance that relies on the fact that on ender pearls, as well as this lava here. So let's see. I'm gonna have some signs to hold it back, and I'm gonna have to go out on the exterior, on the outside, to make sure that I can actually aim with the ender pearls, because it's not exactly a secret entrance if I can't actually get in. It's not a very good entrance. So let's also mine out this nether brick here, and that'll make the entrance just a little bit bigger. Here we go. And let's make it just a little bit more bigger. More bigger? Just bigger. Here we go. So now is the first test. I'm going to ender pearl out of this place and see where it lands. In lava. Great. Okay, here we go. So let's see. I'm on the exterior right now. Hey, Future Javamonk, can you move over here? Okay, so as you can probably see from his perspective, because after all, this is the camera account. So this here is the entrance to the interior, and I can just throw an ender pearl in there, and I get inside just fine, because ender pearls are not damaged by lava. It's the exit that needs work. So let's see. I suppose we don't need these signs here. So I'm just not gonna be able to walk out of this place. And in fact, let me actually, because I removed the jump boost beacon. So let's see. Maybe that'll work. Let's see. Is this a guaranteed safe ender pearl throw? No. Let's see. That ends up in more stone. Okay. So let's just do this then. Sounds like some spiders died. Okay. Here we go. And remove these signs. And there we go. So that should be a guaranteed safe exit if I do not have fire resistance potions. Okay. Looks like that ender pearl just passed right through. And now I'm going to walk in. Or at least try to ender pearl in. Here we go. Right up to the edge. And bam. Okay. Sweet. This is a... Uh-oh. Can I just walk out? Okay, that could cause issues. So, we're here at the top of the tower, of the giant nether brick tower, to basically turn this thing into the Tower of Sauron from Lord of the Rings. Now, in order to do that, I need the actual eye. The Eye of Sauron. The reason why I even brought the Indestructible Ender Crystal from, I don't know, over there. Which we will move over in a little bit, but first, we gotta actually put in the Eye of Sauron. So, Future Javamonk apparently has a spell for that.
I sure do. All I need is a shulker box of magma blocks.
Shulker box of magma blocks. I think that's enough. So, here we go. And now, are you ready?
I am ready.
Hello, no. Hello, sweetheart. It's the recessive. Hello, we know she's no problem. When still, where's the whatever? No. Still, what? Save the surface. Still, oh, you feel the chance in it also. Yeah. There's no rules about it. So it makes it by home now. Hello, times, no so. Ja, fine fester spennende riksmål. Snösjöre siffra inne och amma vars du snarare ställa. Jag så hos nanäska. Snöich besiffra snösöpa i våra. Smis i hu stanse. Amma vars du snöich. And I am staff no.
Whoa. That is cool. Alright. Thank you, Future Javamonk, for lighting up the Eye of Sauron.
No problem whatsoever. Except for the fact that you just unleashed a really dark force in the world.
Yeah, well, I'm sure some hobbit will figure that out.
So, am I still needed?
Well, I would actually like you to be the camera for a couple other things I want to do. So, now the big task now is to make sure that this Eye of Sauron can actually see. Because, in case you didn't know, the Eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings depends on the infamous beam of light that kind of sweeps back and forth across the landscape. It depends on that to actually see. So, currently there is no beam of light. So, at the moment, the Eye of Sauron is essentially blind. So, now, we need to actually bring in that beam of light. And that beam is, you probably guessed it, because I've probably mentioned it a few times already. Wow, that's some weird lag. Over here, at spawn point, the thing that we dragged in from at the beginning of the episode. Which is... yes, the Ender Crystal beam. There's a reason that eye is where it is. So you can kind of see it from over here, actually. So, there's the eye, and that beam is pointing pretty much right at that eye. So here's the Ender Crystal beam, still completely indestructible. There we go. And now it's on fire. So, now we just gotta move this thing in towards the Eye of Sauron and basically make it look like it is the actual beam. Plus, I'm gonna put in a system to actually make it look like this thing is actually moving around. Make the eye look like it's sweeping the landscape, looking for the Ring of Power. So, actually, Future Javamonk, I'm not gonna need you to record this because that first time lapse of the Ender Crystal moving, it really didn't work out. Turns out there was some desynchronization stuff between the camera account and this, and the Ender Crystal beam. So, yeah, I'm gonna move this on my own, and then jump cut to when this beam is in line with the Eye of Sauron. So, I decided to maybe go for a quick and easy approach, and instead of manually pushing it with a bunch of pistons, use a quick and easy flying machine. However, it doesn't seem to be working at all. Oh, would you look at that? It does. Okay. So let's see. I suppose I could just do this, and then break all the string later. Yeah, that could work. except for those cases where it just doesn't activate. Yeah, this might not actually be any easier. It's crazy just how easy it is to move the Ender Crystal once I kind of came up with the flying machine idea. Check this out. So I can just be standing on the flying machine and then just place and break gold blocks. And if ever I need to change direction, which I will soon, then I can just come by and pick up all the gold blocks. So we're almost there. I can kind of see the edge of the tower coming into view. So soon, the Eye of Sauron will be able to see. And this mini flying machine is actually pretty robust. Man, this is such a cool effect. I'm right now standing inside the Ender Crystal beam. And wow, what an effect. So what I'm doing here is actually running a quick test. Seeing if you can actually see the beam if the crystal itself is not visible. Because what I'd like to do is perhaps have some flying machines push the crystal around, and in doing so, it would basically look like the eye of Sauron beam is moving around and sweeping the landscape. So we're gonna put that in this episode, but first I gotta actually test and see if the beam is visible when the crystal is not. So let's just fly right over here. Okay, so I covered up most of that. Oh good, the beam is still visible, and it stops being visible there. So let's see. Oh, it looks like it goes. Okay, so it looks like it is visible if you are looking in some sort of in the direction of that crystal. So I can even be looking over here and be going, ooh, look at that eye, but then it disappears. Okay. That is very weird. I've never worked with indestructible ender crystals before. Oh, and I also really like this wasteland biome-ish thing. So pretty much the whole village has been completely wiped out. And so any trace of it is gone now. I even cleaned up all the shulker boxes and everything like that. So I pretty much just replaced all the grass and grass blocks with just stone. And that makes a pretty good wasteland biome, I think. So yeah, it even crawls up over the hill. This just looks amazing. I'm so happy with how this turned out. So I even replaced some of the water lakes with lava lakes. Yeah. So another thing I added to the interior of this tower, which I think that's the only thing I should add to the interior. Let's just hop right inside. I added this Nether Portal, which is at the center of the world, or near the center of the world. It's also near the center of the world in the Nether. And this Nether Portal actually takes you to the proper Nether, rather than the bedrock ceiling, because at the moment, I don't know a single way to break bedrock. So this is just going to Nether proper. But yeah, this looks incredible. I can't even see the Nether brick. It's so dark in here. Okay, here we go. Let's now so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take that Ender Crystal and shove it underground, and then we're gonna dig out some big tunnels where I can then have flying machines push the crystal around. And I think the crystal should just be pushed across this way from here to there, and then maybe it could switch directions occasionally and go from here to there. That's it. It doesn't need to go in all four sides of this tower. Well, I could of course make it like it just sweep across over here. Okay, I just dug a 3-branch tunnel that is just big enough to keep this thing around, and I'm gonna put in a flying machine system to basically move it between these 3 tunnels. So here's how this is going to work. I'm gonna actually use an item that I don't think I've ever used in Redstone before, and that is the Daylight Detector. So here's an interesting thing about Daylight Detectors. They detect daylight. Now, there's 15 different levels of of light that can be detected, and every time the daylight power changes, an observer watching that daylight detector would actually see that change. So here's the idea. I can have a daylight detector. In fact, I accidentally opened up a hole to daylight over here. So I can just plop a daylight detector right there, and that will detect the amount of daylight, at which point I can have an observer right here, and this will activate the whole system. Now, here's the interesting bit. So this ender crystal is going to move 15 times a day. And since this daylight detector only really functions if I'm nearby, it won't be constantly activating, which is good. It's good for flying machines because they can get unstable if you leave the area. So here's another thing. We actually got to build a couple different machines. One to push the crystal this way, one to push the crystal that way, one to push the crystal that way, and a system to move those flying machines up in line with the crystal so that it can be moved in the first place. So this will be interesting, especially considering that I forgot to light up these tunnels. Yeah. Well, this is interesting. I can attempt to place blocks here, but they're not actually being placed. How interesting. Okay, first test of this machine here. Let's send... What the? Oh yeah, because I forgot to place this observer here. That would be a good idea. Okay, let's send off this flying machine and move the crystal, whoops, to the direction that's farther away from the Tower of Sauron. So it looks like it's moving around just fine. In fact, it's moving quite quickly. So this will make it look like the eye is looking out farther, out instead of just sweeping back and forth. This time it's going out forwards. So pretty soon it'll hit the flying machine will hit the obsidian. All right. Now at this point, we need to put in a system. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, either way, we need to put in a... Okay, then. That is very weird. Very, very weird. Okay, well, either way, we need a system to then send the flying machine back. So I think we can just accomplish that with a piston, or a sticky piston. Except this guy's got to move. So let's build up a similar flying machine over here. This time, in order to move the... This time it's intended to move the crystal back to its original location. Or back to the center point. Okay, so 3 different directions turned out to be too complicated. So instead of that, I'm just going to do 2 different directions. But those 2 directions are going to be perpendicular to each other. Now, here's the idea. I have 2 flying machines that would put the crystal back to the central location, and 2 other flying machines that move the crystal out. So this one twitch will send back the centralizer flying machines. These redstone lines, if they're powered or depowered, then they would activate those machines and send them forward. So now all we have to do is come up with some sort of logic to activate either one of these 2 pistons here, depending on whether I want the Eye of Sauron to start sweeping in that direction or start sweeping in that direction. And I think the way we should decide this is with a randomizer. So here is the randomizer circuit. So this dropper right here, I can just put different items in here and it will that will change what the signal is in this hopper. So when I power this dropper, let's actually lock that hopper. Yeah, so when I power this dropper, that is weird. Why is it doing that? Okay, I'd like to lock that hopper, if at all possible. That's so weird. Okay, looks like this isn't working right. Well, either way, the fundamental mechanics are the same. So, if I drop an item that stacks up to 64, like stone, and it comes up to this hopper, the comparator reads the signal strength as 1. However, if it's a non-stackable item, like a trident, the signal strength is 3. So here's what I can do. And actually, I build about 10 of these circuits in episode 8 of my the adventure map series, because I kind of got sick of command blocks for a little bit. So here's kind of a sneak preview into the mechanics of the circuit. So here's the idea. Essentially the way this works is, if it ends up as a situation where the signal strength is 3, I only want one of these signals to activate. I don't want the other one to. So let's see. I can see, how do I make it exclusive? Kind of forgot how to do that. Aha, there we go. Figured it out. So if I drop a fully stackable item into this hopper right here, like that, then it will activate that piston. And in fact, I can keep dropping stackable items until I blue in the face, and it will continuously activate only the left piston. Now, if I drop an unstackable item, such as my trident, then it will only activate that piston. At least, that's the way it should be working. Let's see. If I do that... Okay, looks like it's too fast. Let's actually instead do a button, because that way it's more visible as to what is going on. So let's see. Grab a button. There we go. Okay. So now we can actually see what's going on here. That should not be happening. Maybe if I do that. That should not be happening. Because this piston looks like it's being zero-ticked or something, but this piston is acting normally. So perhaps I could do something like this. Okay? And do the same thing over here. This way it's going to be a delayed reaction, but in this case, delayed reaction is better than having two things go off simultaneously, because in case you couldn't tell, the two things I want to activate randomly are this flying machine, and this flying machine. And if both of them are activated at the same time, it becomes slimestone mush. I've dealt with that enough in episode 77. I don't want to repeat that. Okay, that's it. That is the system. I guess all that's left to do is to test it. So here we go. Let's start by throwing a non-stackable item. So that should activate this flying machine right here. So let's test this out. So now the crystal is going to move that way. The flying machine should come back to here without the crystal. So that really depends on whether or not the crystal kind of gets stuck to the flying machine. And then I gotta rig up the logic to activate these redstone torches so that the crystal can come back. Okay, this flying machine came back, so now the crystal is way over there. So now that'll probably, from up above, it'll probably look like the Eye of Sauron is looking in that direction. So now all we have to do is depower this redstone signal, and that crystal should make its way back. The great thing about this is that really it really doesn't matter if it's powered or depowered, because it'll still update that piston. It'll still activate that flying machine. And it is primed. So we have a 50-50 chance based on this dropper on whether the crystal goes in that direction or this direction. And we also have a system to, well, whether or not these flying machines are activated depends entirely on the daylight, on this daylight detector. So every 2 ticks of the daylight, I don't know what else to call it, it will activate this 4-dropper line here. So if this dark oak, I put a dark oak button in this dropper, and actually, let's make that a bone, because bones are cheap. There we go. So if this bone is in this dropper here, then it will send off the crystal. And it looks like this time, that flying machine is moving the crystal that way. So then, why is it doing that? It should not be doing that. Uh-oh. I am so happy I decided to put that stone in front of the flying machines, because that could have been rather catastrophic. Okay, let's actually send this machine back, because the next stage of the flight is going to be those flying machines at the end pushing the crystal back to central position. So it turns out 2 daylight levels, yeah, 2 daylight levels was not long enough time to give not enough time for the flying machines to figure out how to return to their stations. So, or at least stop themselves from colliding. So I added 8 droppers, so now it'll take, let's see, 4 daylight cycles to actually do anything. So in this case, it'll be that flying machine comes over, and it would push the crystal back to the central position. So there come both of the flying machines. And then after that, I'm gonna artificially show off what happens. Droppers can do the weirdest things. So it turns out really the issue was that the item in those droppers actually jumps a dropper every time it's powered. Take a look. Bam. So now the item is in here. It totally skipped over this dropper. Weird. So that's basically 2 daylight cycles. So that's perfectly enough time to let the flying machines come all the way back. And now the randomizer said the crystal should go over this way. I have a hunch that randomizer's rigged somehow. Let's see. Weird. So anyway, the crystal is now going to move over here, and there is a possibility that, of course, the crystal gets stuck to the machine, but that doesn't actually happen if I'm far away from it, like over here. So now the crystal should stay over there. Nope, it's stuck. Okay. Either way, it can randomly the crystal can actually get randomly stuck to the machine, or randomly even get, what's the word for it? It can even randomly just get unstuck from the machine. Okay. I think... Yeah, okay, so the item is in here. So that would have actually sent off the crystal returners, but it didn't because of a new system. So there we go. The crystal has enough time to come back, which means this mechanism and everything related to it is all complete now. So let's just Ender Pearl out of here, because we don't need to be in here anymore. In fact, I can turn off the hitboxes. So there we go. We have the Eye of Sauron that now, and holy crap, this episode was also building up the Eye of Sauron. I spent so long building the Ender Crystal system that I didn't even notice that we also built the Eye and the Tower in this episode. So let's see if we can actually... Let's see if this crystal will actually get anywhere. There it goes. A view from the camera account. The beam is moving. Not very well, apparently. But it is moving. So there we go. We have the Eye of Sauron searching for the Ring of Power, and its beam is moving. This is awesome. And then in a little while, it'll move back to whatever into the central position. So here we go. And there it goes. It's moving again. Eventually, it'll come back to the central position. So this is awesome. Let me actually do a quick flyby of everything we did this episode. So, well, I kind of jump cutted turning the area into a wasteland, but yeah, we built the tower in the giant time lapse. Future Javamonk lit the Eye of Sauron. We gave the Eye the ability to see using the Ender Crystal, the Indestructible Ender Crystal, that we gathered way back in live stream number 3. So there we go. This enormous project. This was an outrageous episode, and I am so happy with how it turned out. So, I really hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please let me know, and I will see you next video. I'm not sure how I'm going to top this. This is just incredible. I'll see you later.